Hey everyone, welcome to the Different Fins channel. As you can see, I have my kayak out and the snow is over my knees, it's still deep. Winter will just not go away this year. It's actually a week into April, but the days are getting longer, warmer, this snow will melt, and before you know it, I'll be out in the water in the kayak. So it's the perfect time to get it ready for the open water season. I bought this Old Town kayak last summer. I fished it all year without any electronics at all, and I did okay, caught a lot of fish, but there's some circumstances where you need to know what's going on if you're doing some vertical jigging or whatnot. We're trying to find underwater structure, so it's time for an upgrade. This winter I picked up a fish finder, Hummingbird Helix 5. It was a tough choice between the 5 and the 7, to be honest, and I went with the 5 because I do a lot of backcountry fishing and I spend long days on the water, so I sacrificed the larger screen for portability and battery life. Before we get started, I'm just going to show you all the equipment I'm going to be using today. You know about the Helix 5, I'm going to unbox that in a second. I got a mount specifically for the Helix 5 that has the mounting plate with the right bolt pattern from Ram Mounts. Just a heads up, if you live in Canada, the shipping is going to cost as much as the product itself. So keep that in mind. Up next, I'm going to be doing a through-hull wiring. So I got a kit from Yak Attack with some waterproof grommets to do that install. And for that, you're going to need a 1-inch bit and a 7/64 bit for the screws. Powering this, I have a 12-volt lithium-ion battery, 10 amp hour, and some Velcro. Because this is going to be inside the hull, I'm going to use the Velcro tape to secure it so it doesn't slide all over the place. Let's unbox this thing, see what's inside. Okay, what side it is. That's everything in there. Instructions, I don't need that because I watch YouTube. Alright, here's the unit itself. Nice and light, compact. Stick this garbage in my pocket for now. Here is the transducer. I think that's both in, oh yeah. There's my power. There's the transducer. There's the mounting hardware. This is what's going to bolt to the existing mounting bracket underneath the kayak. And just the harness for the unit. All right, let's do this. The first step in the fish finder installation is to mount the transducer on the bottom of the hull. So we're going to need to flip over the kayak. Okay. We're going to go ahead and take off the mounting plate. Mounting plate is off. I just unscrewed it from the hull. You can see there's various holes here. That's to match different brands of transducers. So on this one, I'm going to be using these two bottom holes for the Helix 5. Okay. There you have it. I just mounted the transducer mount to the mounting plate with two 1/2 inch 10 by 24 bolts and locking nuts. I got the bolts in place, the insert in. This bolt came with the package, simple. Go through, it's got a hex head. You want to mount the transducer so that this part is facing up this way, like that. If you had this flipped over, the transducer would be sitting up above the hull and you'd be hitting it every time you beached. So I'm going to mount this as such. And just to give you some perspective, I'll come down level and you'll see that it's protected. That's the way you want to mount it. There, that's tight. Peel that off. There you have it. There's your transducer mounted. Now I'm going to feed the wire through here. All right, I'm back at it. I actually had to stop the other day because I realized bolts did not come with the mounting plate. It comes with screws for this part, but no bolts. So I had to run to the hardware store, but it was closed. So just picking it up on a different day. I went and bought some more size 10 bolts with lock nuts. And now the harness for the Helix is mounted to the mounting plate for the ram mount. With the ram mount, I bought this spring-loaded base that has literally just two buttons that lock it into place. And that slides into the rail. Turn it. And you have to push down on these two buttons here so that the lock goes down. And then I can turn it into place. And there. Now that's locked. That is not going anywhere. While I'm sitting in the kayak, I can adjust this later on, but it's a good start. Now to mount the unit into the harness, it's as simple as putting it in place and then inserting these bolts that come with it, finger tight. Simple enough. Just like that. It's mounted to the base. Sweet. This next part is going to be a little painful, to be honest. I'm going to drill some holes into a perfectly good kayak. It's time to do the through-hull wiring kit. Opening up this kit, we have a couple of these holders. So I'm going to be drilling a 1-inch hole to feed the wires, and these grommets go inside to keep it waterproof, and held in with 2 screws. That's it. Pretty simple. So this one is going to be for the transducer wire, which is going to feed into the hull up here. I'm going to use this marker just to trace out a line. Let's see easier said than done because it's kind of tight quarters in here. Something like that. One hole. So what I did here, because it was very tight to even get these two holes in, because of this piece that supports the PDL drive, I can't get the drill to get that bottom hole. So I used this piece to mark a second hole down here, because I got more room to drill from the inside out. Next step, you can see it comes with these various inserts for the grommet. You have to match the diameter of the hole to the cable that's going to be going through it. There we go. And through. And just like that. That's my bottom half. And because there's only one wire going through this hole, I'm just going to add a solid piece to complete the circle. All right. Now, to screw that into place. Before I insert the screws, I'm going to add some marine silicone to it just to keep it waterproof. Hole number 1 is complete. Now to do the same thing over here, leading up to the fish finder. First thing I'm going to do, drill the hole first, the 1-inch hole. Just going to center that over the hole. Mark for the screws. Now I need to feed these cables down there into that hole. Right here. To fish the cables, what I'm using is a wire clothes hanger. I just straighten that out, stick that in there, and use the hook to pull the wire out. Ta-da! Now to do the opposite for the transducer cable. I'm just going to use some painter's tape to attach the end of the transducer cable to that wire clothes hanger and pull it out. And voila! I'm just pre-tapping the holes before I get it all together. I just think it'll be easier that way. that. Just snug. You don't want to go too tight or else you'll strip the plastic. Done. Here's the unit with the ram mount wired through the Yak Attack through-hull wiring kit. Another thing I'm doing is I used a couple plastic ties to wrap up this transducer cable because they give you about 1.5 miles of it, and you don't need that for a kayak. Before I secure the battery in the hull, I'm going to wire up the power cable with some 1/4-inch spade connectors. Just like so. There's one. There. Velcro's on. There. I just marked out the square where the battery's going to go so I can lay the other side of the Velcro down. Not the prettiest sticker job, but it'll work. Yeah. That should work. I have my spade connectors crimped, and I put some shrink tube on them to help protect them from the elements. Now it's just time to clip them onto the battery and see if it'll turn on. Simple as black wire to black wire, red wire to red wire. There. There's my battery all connected. Only one more thing to do. We have power. It's a bright sunny day. I'm just testing out the simulator right now. I can see that fairly well. Not sure how to look with the polarized glasses on, but yeah, everything looks great except for the metric system. Even though I'm Canadian, I'm a big fan of the imperial units. So I like feet, miles per hour. I do like Celsius for temperature. I don't know, I'm a crossbreed. So there you have it. It's installed. I'm ready for the open water. I hope that helps you out. If you didn't find it informative, hopefully you found it entertaining. Yeah, it's in. I'm ready for the open water. Truth be told, I've already been in the open water. Between when I started doing the install and today when I finished, I left all this snow behind and I went to Rainy River, Ontario / Minnesota. It was wide open. I didn't have the fish finder. I think it might have helped a little bit, but I still got out. Back to ice fishing for me. Before I flip the kayak over, I'm going to take advantage of this moment. I have this kayak cart. It's kind of a cheapie, under $100. But there's one problem with the Old Town kayaks, and that is this keel. It runs up the middle. It doesn't keep it nice and square. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bolt a couple boards onto this to raise it up, and then hopefully it'll be a lot more secure. There we go. Now when the kayak is sitting on this, the weight is on these boards and it'll hold it nice and square. the best part. It folds up. Of course it's rough and dirty, but I'm in a hurry.